Welcome to MoggyBoxCraft. I'm Deborah and welcome back to my greenhouse and garden. The sun has finally appeared and I'm going to take you on a journey of what's been happening in my garden throughout June. The dogs are using the paddling pool as a great big water ball. Oh, he's half in. You going in? I think that's as close as we've got to the boys using it as a paddling pool. Maybe I'll leave it there long enough, they'll get used to it and actually start using it, because it is quite hot today. Might actually be 20 degrees, which is practically tropical in Scotland. So anyway, it's June, the sun has finally appeared, and I'm going to take you on a tour of what's been happening in my garden, or what I'm trying to grow this summer anyway. So let's go start in the greenhouse. I am absolutely sweltering in here today. I've got the doors open, the windows are open, and it's still absolutely roasting. I've got my sunscreen on, so if you see me sweltering throughout this video, just know that at least I'm protected. And I've tried to wear some floaty clothes to try and protect my shoulders from the sun, because sunburn isn't fun. Let's get on with it. So the less time we've got to be in the greenhouse sweating, the better. So behind me here is my seedlings. I have planted a few extra things. We've had a few problems though, as you might know, with slugs and snails, and now the heat. Because if things aren't getting eaten by slugs or snails, they seem to want to get sunburnt and shrivel up with the sun because it's too hot. So it feels never ending. To try and combat the slugs and snails, I do have slug pellets, which I don't particularly like using, personal preference, but I have also been looking into other methods. So the two methods I'm going to be trying out is Nemeslug and copper mesh. So this is Nemeslug, what does it say here? Biological slug killer, effective natural control, compatible with organic gardening, easy to use, just add water. This is what the contents of the packet looked like. It looks a bit like powder. You see that rattling in there? Upon receiving this, you need to refrigerate immediately. Do not freeze, just refrigerate. It needs to be used before the use by date. Apparently this treats up to 40 meters square and lasts up to 6 weeks. So you add it to water, pour it all over your soil, and remember to keep the soil moist. And hopefully that should keep the slugs and snails at bay. In fact, I've already put one of these packets all over my garden, and this is the second pack I've got in. Because I didn't refrigerate upon arrival, I didn't read the label, I just opened the package, whacked it on my kitchen table and left it there for 5 days. So this pack has been in the refrigerator. I'm not going to put it down today, am I? I might put this down later on tonight. The only problem with putting this down at the moment is it's really warm, so I'm going to have to make sure that the garden stays really wet and moist, and I remember to water lots in the evening to keep everything damp, so they stay alive to help me with the slug problem. My other solution is copper mesh. So it's like really fine knitted mesh. That's all I can really say about it. I'm going to give this a try as well on a few areas. In fact, if you guys are interested, I'm considering doing a slug experiment and testing out a whole range of different products and seeing which deters slugs and snails and which doesn't. I do have a list of things to try: copper tape, copper wire, eggshells, petroleum jelly apparently, if you smear that around the outside of your pot. I don't know if it works, but I want to find out. WD-40, same sort of idea, put it around the outside of the pot, and apparently they don't like climbing up it. We'll see about that. Seaweed, garlic, mint, and of course my biological slug killer, Nemeslug. So that's supposed to be like nemesis of the slug. Who knows? Anyway, let's go have a little look around the greenhouse and I'll show you how everything is doing. So here is how the greenhouse is looking. Let's start off with all the seedlings. Everything seems to be growing really quite nicely. These aubergines seem to have a few flowers appearing, as do the peppers and I think some of the chilies. So this is a butternut squash. I have left it in the greenhouse because the other one, as you'll see later, isn't doing very well. And everything else is pretty much now planted out apart from these guys. So we've got gaillardia flowers down here. I've only managed to grow one honeycomb tomato. It's looking very small. And then we've got some melons in there. So down here's a few extra things I planted. Unfortunately, they were doing really well. And then in the greenhouse with the heat, a lot of them shriveled back and died. So I have planted a few more things. You can start to see a few things popping up there. But yeah, I'm not holding a whole lot of hope for that actually now. We'll wait and see what happens. And in the doorway of the greenhouse, this is a passion fruit flower. I started growing this last year, so hopefully it will flower this year. Unfortunately, I do have zero hopes of growing passion fruit, but the flower is very beautiful when it does appear. As for the rest of the greenhouse down here, it's a bit of a stramash, so bear with me. In this first planter is the melons. These two melon seedlings I grew actually in the house and kept them on a heat mat and under a grow light for quite some time. So they are doing heaps better than the other one. Or the seedlings I've got still growing in the window. I'm really hoping these will get on fine as summer progresses. This is the furthest I've ever got my melon, so I'm pretty chuffed myself. These two tomato plants are tumbling toms, I think. One of my friends gave me these and they are growing beautifully. They're lovely, healthy looking plants. Now we've got some loofahs. I know these don't look like they're doing very well, but in the last few days this one's sprouted a few extra leaves. This one's got a few extra leaves on it as well. Got cucumbers. These are the seed-saved moneymaker tomatoes, and these are the normal moneymaker tomatoes. Funnily enough, the seed-saved tomatoes seem to be growing much faster. Don't know why that is. Then we've got some more loofahs down here. Again, not doing the best, but still not dead. Still very small though for this time of the year. Then we've got some seed-saved sun gold tomatoes and some regular sun gold tomatoes. They're starting to look a lot healthier than they were. They were really quite pale for a while there. Then we've got the sweetcorn. I have lost the one that was in there. There's definitely a bit of damage going on here with slugs and snails, but we will keep fighting them with their nemesis, Nemeslug. And hopefully they will progress and grow better and I won't lose any more. There's the culprits right there. Snail bloody city. You're not paying rent. You're gonna have to leave. Then along the other side we've got jalapenos, prairie hot chilies, red skin peppers, aubergine, and down here I've got the fragrant flower kit for the plant theatre kit. These have all gotten eaten really badly. I've completely lost this one. I think everything else is trying to make a bit of a comeback. Fingers crossed we get somewhere with that. These are the extra seedlings I planted from the fragrant flower kit. Carry on with these and hopefully they will grow. Other problems I've been having in the garden are with aphids and green flies. They seem to be attacking everything at the moment. So my solution for this is water and dish soap. Mostly water, scoosh of dish soap, shake it up and spray. Oh, it's just gone on the camera, oh no. No. And if like me you're also having problems with weeds because it feels never ending between the grass and the paving, I've been making my own weed killer. So cost effective and cheap. Obviously you do have to use it several times, and if you've got like deep rooted weeds like dandelions, unless you get the root out, it ain't gonna kill them. All you need is a cheap bottle of vinegar, has to be at least 5% though, 3 tablespoons of salt and a scoosh of hand soap, although I think it might be better to use something that wasn't antibacterial and was fragrance free, but this is what I had, so this is what I used. Just whacked it all into an empty spray bottle, shake it up and spray wherever the weeds are. Cheap and cheerful and does the job. So let's head into the garden, check out how the rest of the seedlings are doing and what else is growing. So let's take a closer look at how the raised beds are doing. Onions are growing nicely. Down here we've got what used to be the courgettes. All my Virginia 3 courgettes have died, but the Defender courgettes are doing okay. I think I've lost 1 or 2, but we've got 3 still there. Butternut squash did not fare well in the cold and then the heat. Lettuce is doing splendidly. And then we've got the pumpkins. I have lost one of the zombie pumpkins. The rest are kind of holding on in there just. So on to the strawberry seedlings down here. I don't know how to pronounce these, but they're growing along really nicely. These strawberries grow a bit like they're on sticks, so we'll wait and see how they come on. My strawberry temptations are finally starting to look like they're growing, hurrah! I didn't think they were going to grow at all. I thought these package of seeds were a total dud, but they're getting there. Then we've got little gem lettuce and saladin lettuce. Unfortunately, these did not fare well in the greenhouse with all the heat. Most of them have actually died off, and I'm not entirely sure if these are going to survive, but I'm going to leave them outside from now on, and fingers crossed they do okay. And then a speckled cranberry climbing French beans. My first bash at these seedlings did not go well, put them outside and they died. Hopefully these will survive a little bit better. Garlic's looking good this year, looking forward to later in the year so I can get that harvested. In here we've got carrots. These are autumn toucan carrots. And then we've got half-long parsnips. Last year wasn't great for me in the parsnips, but this year I think we've survived the slug invasion. Hopefully this will be a good year for Christmas and the parsnips. Brussel sprouts are doing rather well. When these get bigger I will thin them out so there's not quite so many in there. And under the green mesh protector boxes we've got the Damasco cauliflower and the asparagus. The asparagus has gone a bit crazy. It's really long. I'm not entirely sure if it's supposed to look like that, but that's what I've got, so we're going with it. And the Damasco cauliflower is doing so well. I'm so pleased. They all look really, really healthy. Even this one that I thought had gotten eaten through a little bit. And hopefully the green mesh box will keep that all protected and protect it from the aphids and the slugs and, well, maybe not the slugs, but at least the cabbage butterfly. Now we've got the carrots, onions and potatoes. So these carrots I planted last year, but I'm leaving them to go to seed because I'm really hoping to try and seed save them this year. They do look like they're about to go into seed, so fingers crossed. Then we've got the set onions, all growing nicely. I planted a few extras around here after I'd harvested the last of the carrots, so they're starting to sprout. And the potatoes are going wild. Let's hope for a bumper crop of potatoes. The other thing that needs a little bit of work is my strawberries. They're really overgrown, covered with moss, full of weeds, and I've kind of neglected them because I kind of forgot about them over winter and possibly last year. So let's get that sorted. This is how my hanging baskets are looking. It's pretty grim. They are full of weeds and moss, and yeah, they definitely need a bit of TLC. I'm also going to replace this plastic because it's a bit brittle and I haven't done it for a couple of years. And all I use for this is a 10p carrier bag. Waste not, want not. Everyone's got loads of carrier bags lying around, don't they? We do reuse them, but occasionally you get one and it goes in that bag that lives in your kitchen or kitchen cupboard and doesn't always see the light of day again. So turn your bag inside out and then tuck the handles in and down. I'm sure that's a beautiful sound. So you've tucked your handles into the bottom of the bag. Looks like a sort of bowl, a really bad bowl. Well, it's a bag, okay? So I'll put that to one side for the moment. So I'm going to remove as much of the old soil as possible, the moss, the weeds, and replant these strawberries into the new bag. So remove the strawberries from the basket. Pop that to one side. I think we can see why this might need replacing. Oh, and look at all that moss. Crazy. Now, pop that to one side. Don't put that in your brown bin. And we'll get rid of as much of this as possible. And let's get rid of all the weeds as well. I've gotten rid of as much as possible. I think these will do fine now. Get your empty hanging basket. Place your plastic bag into your hanging basket. Pop in some new compost. I'm using some peat-free multi-purpose compost. I'm also going to add in some plant food granules, just a wee handful. Sprinkle them in and mix them in. Let's just pop in the shrubs. Pull those up a little bit. I'm going to top that up with some extra compost. And then water them in. So now my strawberries are looking a heck of a lot happier and a lot more weed free. So fingers crossed we get good straws this year. So I've actually looked after them. De-weeded, much, much happier. My dad's here visiting. Are you feeling relaxed there? Yes. Dad's having a nice time relaxing over there. I'll get on with the video. Let's take a look at the rest of the garden and I'll show you what else has been growing. Let's get on to the flowers. The confetti garden isn't looking too great, but I have high hopes. The larkspur is slowly but surely growing. The clary had a tough time with the slugs, unfortunately, but hopefully it'll do well now we're having some better weather. So we've got marigolds, pansies. These are the seed saved peas I've grown. Unfortunately, it has been absolutely ravished by slugs and snails. In fact, all the peas and marrows I've grown up here have been pretty ravished. This plant will hopefully turn into blue poppies that I grew from seed last year. These are absolutely stunning. Have you ever seen a prettier flower? Thumbelina, Damson Ripple, love them. Now these are both trailing petunias. Look at the sorry state of this. This is terrible. This one's not much better. It's got a few flowers on it, but it's not great. And down here, these flowers are coming back to life a little bit. Although I think I might have pruned this one a little bit too much and I think it might be dead. I'm not sure if that's weeds or what is in that anymore. And of course the flower plant at the bottom of the garden. Tulips are starting to die back a bit now. Hollyhocks are growing really well, although I did have to cut a heap off the bottom because yeah, there was a lot of slug damage and yeah, not very happiness under there. So, and everything else I've just given it a really nice tidy up. The experimental potatoes in buckets seem to be growing quite well too. These are the seed-saved Shiraz Mangetout, and I think I've just seen the first flowers. Hopefully that will turn into a Mangetout. How gorgeous is the colour of those flowers. Love that. On to the pear and apple tree. I am hopeful we might get pears this year. There is a few still clinging on in there. Fingers crossed these will turn into pears. And the apples ain't doing badly either. We've also got roses appearing. I love when the garden starts blooming. And look at this red currant. This thing has gone wild with the red currant. Can't wait to see them turning red. And we've got some raspberries in here. I know it's hard to see because they're swamped by the red currant, but they are there and they're growing. And that is as close as Pell seems to be getting to going in the paddling pool. At least he's got the option if he wants to go in, but he doesn't. And this is the other melon I've been growing. It is under a grow light and sat on a heat mat. Because it's a watermelon, I thought I would just try and grow it inside. Is that going to be a watermelon? I don't know, but I shall leave it growing in here and see what happens. If you've enjoyed this video, leave a like, leave a comment, share and subscribe. Of course, subscribing is optional, but it is very much appreciated. So thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!